Welcome to What the Flick, everybody, in our fancy new studios here at the Current TV Young Turks hybrid studios.
Ta-da.
Yeah, that's right. Christy Lemire, right in front of you there. Alonso Duralde. We're going to begin with a movie that you don't want to see with your mother.
Or anybody. This is Shame with a whole lot of full frontal Michael Fassbender. I'm just going to get it out of the way early. There is ass licking.
Ooh.
There is, and it's germane to the story. It's totally
It's not
relevant.
gratuitous in any way.
No. Michael Fassbender plays a guy named Brandon who looks stylish and poised and perfectly glossy from the outside, living in New York. He is actually a sex addict, and his nights get weirder and weirder as he tries to feed and satisfy his needs. One day his sister, his wayward lounge singer sister, played by Carey Mulligan, shows up, and that kind of screws things up for him even more.
Why are you so angry?
That's my boss.
Hey, do you want to play?
Your hard drive is filthy. I mean, it is dirty.
Slowly.
I'm trying to help you.
How are you helping me, huh? You come in here and you're a weight on me. You're a burden.
You want to get out of here? I could take you somewhere.
We're family. We're meant to look after each other.
So this is rated NC-17. There's a lot of to-do about that.
And how.
And how, right. I mean,
What is it? Who do you have to fuck to get an X rating? You know?
two women at once,
Yeah.
very graphically, I guess. I think people are walking out of it feeling kind of like, whoa, what did I just see? It's not for everyone, but is the NC-17 rating justified here? Yeah.
Well, there's no. I mean, you can't
Yeah.
have you think
You can have it unrated, theoretically. You can have it
Yeah,
unrated,
I mean,
right?
the notion of whether the NC-17 rating is ever justified is the question here.
But that's not an R-rated movie.
No.
more
So
graphic,
certainly
right.
by the structure that the MPAA is set up, like just frankly that much exposed penis, not erect and not doing anything, that's already grounds for an NC-17.
Mm-hmm.
So on that ground alone, Fassbender delivers.
My penis is always doing something.
It's
You're
cleaning the oven.
Right. Yeah.
So, but I'd say for the standards that have been set up thus far, yes, it's definitely an NC-17. But again, it's sort of like when people went to see David Cronenberg's Crash because it was NC-17 and thought it was going to be like Death Race 2000 with fucking. Like, this is not a movie that you're going to spank it to on Cinemax. This is
not sexy.
No, this
no.
And that's the point.
It turns out being a sex addict is not awesome.
Even when you look like Michael Fassbender,
But it's funny, there's debates. There's a study out this week saying that I think 9 million Americans are sex addicts, 3 to 5% of the population, and a lot of reaction to that story, and that's clearly too high. We were debating it on the Young Turks. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. I have no idea. But the notion that it isn't a real diagnosis, that it's not a thing that can afflict someone, strikes me as crazy. Of course it is. It's a very easy thing for somebody to be addicted to. I'm sure people take advantage of it to get out of whatever foibles they've been caught in. But that said, for many, I think it is legitimate. And this Michael Fassbender's portrayal, I think clearly is effective because it lets you see this is a real guy functioning in society,
right?
Who, probably would enjoy sex if he could have sex sort of in the comfortable, normal way that people do. But I mean, this is clearly to me a nice job portraying a guy addicted to something on a destructive path.
Oh, it's excellent, and he's great in it, and there's Oscar talk, and justifiably so. I would disagree with you that he's functioning, because he's only functioning for so long. I mean, after a while, it becomes all-consuming, and it affects his days and his nights and his job.
No, let me just be real clear for 5 seconds. Seemingly functioning, which is like to the outside world would appear that this guy is okay. No, he's not okay at all.
And usually a movie about somebody with an addiction, that person is like in an alleyway and covered in sores or whatever, where he is like, to the outside world seemingly has it all together, has the good job and the clean apartment and everything, but obviously a total mess on the inside. My beef with this movie is I think that it's fascinating when it's about what it's about, but then when it isn't, it sort of goes off on these kind of meandering tangents that I didn't find very interesting at all.
What's meandering? Like what does not fit?
For example, Steve McQueen, the director, loves his long takes.
I love the long takes too.
And some of them I think are great, like the scene where he's having dinner with the coworker.
Excellent scene.
They build up tension. You don't know what's going to happen. And they're really effective. Other times, they felt to me as masturbatory as whatever Fassbender is doing at his computer.
You didn't
frankly.
like him running through New York, that long tracking shot of him
No.
running
That
down
guy,
31st Street?
not so much. No, and
I was
and-
kind of wowed. I'm like,
and-
wow, they're navigating traffic and the camera's still
and
holding it.
Carey-
Right, but it's a very, but that became, if you're going to praise that, that to me became a very technical moment.
Yeah,
That I-
you
Why
stop,
not?
you stop thinking about the character, and you start thinking about, oh my God, how'd they get
Right,
that
how-
shot?
But he's
And
got
that's
that
not
trick
the-
in his bag of tricks, and so why not show it off? I'm okay with that.
But I think it removes you from the
Context-
story and makes you, it makes you, ooh,
Contextual
look at that
showing it off.
directing.
Okay.
The
you
scene
know?
in the restaurant with the coworker with Jane Badge-Dale, that was good, but the running.
And oh my God, the moment of Carey Mulligan butchering New York, New York.
It is
in
self-indulgent.
Toto was like,
It's
oh,
indulgent.
it was so
It
actory
is.
and so directory
It
at the same time. It was like, could we just stop
It
now,
is.
please?
I don't know whether this is similar to what you're saying, but there were moments where it's really like it's hard to watch and therefore impossible not to watch, where you're really stuck, and not just because it feels prurient, like you're seeing the sort of devastation and destruction of someone's life, someone interesting, and that is captivating. But then there were times when I just felt like it was a series of events that I just thought it was. This thing happened, and then this thing happened, and this thing happened.
Yeah, it's
and
not.
I
It's not so
didn't
much
feel
an
the
arc
cohesion.
as
Right.
sort of like they kind of come in at a certain point and they leave at a certain point.
I would say
not,
it's a
you
series
know.
of events, but it's a series of increasingly dark and dangerous and self-destructive events. Ergo, it is an arc.
I didn't. Sure, no.
Thank you, Fozzie Bear. There's a bit of that. Yes,
No,
I agree.
and that was obviously the intent. I got that, but I still just sort of felt like there was a little bit. Okay, and then this happened, and then we'll have him do this. Wait, that's not enough. Now let's have him do this. Let's have him be alone, jogging on the sidewalk, and he just sees a random guy, and he asks, that there was just a little too much of let's one up what we just did.
It does get increasingly indulgent, and you do feel like you have been pummeled by the end of it. I will agree.
Hey,
But
I know, right? I never thought I'd say this, but the threesome goes on too long. And I know why it does. I know it's meant
I've
to
said that
be.
all
Your band.
I know.
I've said that
never to be
all the
spoken
I
time.
know, and I know why that's the case. It's meant to show that like he must, go to more extremes
Yeah.
to satisfy himself, and he's not even enjoying this.
Like,
I
this
get why.
isn't fun.
Right,
Yeah,
so it's
yeah.
not fun for anybody involved, and I get that's the point.
The relationship that I didn't give a lot of thought to during the movie. You're clearly supposed to, but I was really so focused on the events. Was Carey Mulligan's character? She's his sister,
Right.
And their dynamic is interesting. And I actually found myself. I saw it at the Telluride Film Festival, and then a little later, and talking about it with you. Talking about it afterwards was more interesting to me than the way it was in the movie.
Okay,
Like
so the possibility of incest, right? That's out there. Do you see it as this is the thing that damaged them? Was that they had an incestuous thing growing up?
No, I think the parents did a number on them,
Yeah.
which is never really discussed. I think that the two of them are damaged enough that that's maybe something that's always a possibility. Whether or not it actually happened, I don't know that it really matters, because it
Right.
might as well have, because they're both such wrecks.
Yeah, I like that they don't specify what happened to them, but there is this whole faction of people who've seen it out there who were like, oh, they had sex when they were kids. And I don't see it.
I thought were they maybe not kids, but young adults, because he's older than she is. I took it as clear that had happened. But then after speaking to you,
Yeah.
and then going back over some of the conversations I had with people who saw the movie, and I tell you right, I mean there was just a great deal of this.
Like, just people were just in stunned
Wow.
silence.
Like I watched people watch this movie. I'm like, she's 68 years old. She can't. This is not what you thought was going to happen.
I did not like Carey Mulligan in this. I have to say,
Why?
it just all felt so super indulgent and. What a friend of mine calls indication theater. It was all like external and all kind of obvious stuff, and I felt Fassbender was giving a much more. You had to come to him to sort of see what was going on.
But I like that this is a much showier role for her than we've seen in like the Wall Street sequel or An Education.
True, yeah,
It's
she gets to
very
wear
different.
smudgy
And do an
eyeliner
American
and
accent.
curse and but it's just too much after a while.
Yeah, I was more intrigued by what was happening with her related to him than I was with what was happening to her independently, completely. Okay, numbers.
7.5. I think it is shot beautifully. I like the long takes. I think Fassbender is amazing, but it gets really indulgent after a while.
5.8 for the parts that work.
Okay.
Yeah, he's an artist turned filmmaker, Steve McQueen,
Yeah.
and it shows. It does look great. I gave it 5.5. I mean, I liked it. I was uncomfortable, but I think some of the discomfort came from at times boredom and not the discomfort that we were looking for. Again, that was one thing after another where I'm like, okay, we'll get to the part where it ends. My favorite part of this, definitely no question, when Christy's saying you really feel like you've been pummeled at the end of the movie.
I have a way with words. I write for a living.
All right, so 6.3, which I think is about right overall for Shane. It's interesting, and the conversations afterwards see it with people, talk about it afterwards. I think that.
See it with someone you don't love. Bye. Bye.